Alrighty, welcome back to the Diamondmounter channel. Today we're going to drop some more golden nuggets of knowledge and jewellery making wisdom on your ass. So just gonna not really think too much and I'll just freestyle it off the top of the dome. When I'm doing these golden nugget videos, I'm thinking about beginners or kind of just amateurs, learners, people doing it at home, like trying to make jewellery for the first time, just fiddling about, and they've got their own little simple setup at home. So this is what I have here, so maybe things I can say are going to be useful for you. You don't have to do everything the way I do it, but I'll just show you what I do, and you might get some ideas for how to set things up for your home as well. First thing I could think of, the difference in height between your bench and your chair is it's good if it's quite a lot. I like my chair very low. Sometimes I've even taken the wheels off chairs to get them to sit even lower. And the reason is you're here for a long time, so your posture is very important. Longevity, you've got to look after your health and your body, because it takes not days, weeks, months, it takes years. It takes decades even to get really good at making jewellery. So you've got to make sure you are physically able to do that kind of time at the bench. So the reason my chair is very low compared to my workbench is to work on the peg, my back has to be straight. If my chair is too high, I'm like this, leaning over if I'm closely looking at things, and just over time you can do your back in. So I like my chair, doesn't go down very fast. This forces me to have a straight back. I recommend it. Alright, next nugget. You do not really need a lot of space for this kind of equipment. Unfortunately, these are a little bit pricey. Not hugely, but you know, like you're gonna have to spend hundreds of pounds to have this. This one was about 150 odd, don't know, maybe a bit more. This one was like 400 and something, probably the cheapest I could find. It's very Japanese, I don't know what you'll find in your country. And these are always very, very cheap, and buying them online, for some reason you can get them delivered free, which is great because they weigh a ton. Yeah, but look how much space I'm using to have these together. Like my rolling mills are literally like 15 centimeters away from my ring stretcher, and then my vise is about the same. So very small little space, and I've got all these three things. With your vise, make sure you can stand like away from it, because if you have your draw plate in there, you need to be able to stand and use a lot of strength, have a good stance to pull wire through it. So make sure you're not like too close to a wall, or like I've got a table there, but it's space for me to actually stand alongside it and pull wire down. And same with your rolling mills, consider your handle's got to go all the way around. So it's got to kind of be on a corner on the edge. This, just make sure it's bolted down properly, not like me, just 2 bolts in there. Next nugget, I don't know what's going on with the lighting. Oh, there you go, it's come back. On my bench leg, I've got a hook for my saw. It's very useful, I can just put it there. It's an annoying thing to have on your bench because files and stuff get like hooked on it. So when you pick it up, just loads of files come flying at your face. So it's nice to have its own little home. I have it on a hook right next to me. It's very fast, like it's good. It's a good place to keep it. So I recommend doing that. Next nugget, a little section of floor tile I've got. And this is the same bit I cut out when I was very beginning my apprenticeship, and it's just served me well all this time. Just gives it a little bit of suspension underneath your block, so when you're hammering, the vibrations are not too crazy onto the bench, otherwise it just makes a racket, and as you're hammering really, so everything's jumping about. Alright, next nugget is having polishing string attached to your bench. I use this a lot, like things like this ring shank I made recently, it's in the other video, that Pinterest one. Like getting in there, I've got one section of string for the triply grease, and the next one for the only green I use on there. So it's just good for getting in places, polishing things up, getting things finished really nicely. So it's very useful to have bits of string, just a bunch of it tied up, just screw it to your bench, and it just sits there, it's always there, ready for you. Next nugget, for sweeping up Lemel out of your bench skin or bench tin, whatever you've got here. You don't need any fancy little specially bought equipment. This was an old mint tin. I just cut the corners off, cut it across there, nice sharp edge, so it lays down really flat, and you can sweep all your Lemel into it. And just this kind of nylon-y brush, which you usually find in jewelers' tool shops, works very well. I have actually got something so old-fashioned, somewhere in a box. It was an old hare's foot, and hare's feet were better than rabbit's feet because they were a little bit longer, and the idea was for using those They don't, like, this has bristles and it can be a bit flicky. You can flick dust about. The hare's foot just literally just wipes it all into where you want it to go. And it was quite useful, but slightly gross and like a little bit not hygienic, having like animals' limbs laying about. I just started using this years ago and it's fine. So they're quite cheap, they work very well. Next nugget, old camera film case. If you break a drill or a phrase or something, just keep a few of them. Maybe not necessarily every single one you break, but I've got a few and they come in very useful because actually I use these a lot. Doesn't happen too often, luckily, but the day will come when you're drilling out drill holes for setting and you'll snap a drill in there. I use an old, previously snapped drill with a bit of a spike on it, and then you can tap it out. Also, if you say you get cast a full eternity ring, do I have one here? No, I don't. There's lots of, oh, what's that? Yeah, I've got one. See, lots of small holes. See if I can get you close up on that. Lots of small holes. After casting, sometimes they're blocked up with investment. So I use something like that and I can just give it a tap and it helps break through. If you try and drill out the investment from casting, it just blunts your drills. They never seem to go through and you can never push hard enough. And actually you're probably more likely to break a drill trying to drill it out. So if you give it a bang first with this, it sort of turns to dust and then the drills will push it all out. So that's a good tip for clearing out blocked holes after casting. Next nugget, these, I don't even know what their proper name is. They're kind of little stone discs, little cut-off wheels, like a little mini version from an angle grinder. Very, very brittle. They don't bend or flex at all, but they cut beautifully when you're cutting down, or you can skim across surfaces. I use these a lot. They do take a bit of practice to use. You might break a few when you learn how to use them. What I like with these, obviously you can use one at a time, is probably how they're meant to be used, but you can stack them up like 2 or 3. See, I've used this loads. Like, I don't break them anymore, so they wear right down. So that's got a bit of width to it now, it's more strong, and where that's useful is a ring like that. When you put a few together, because this ring is spreading out wide, it doesn't stay flat. Sorry, my hands are in the way. Doesn't stay flat, so I'll use this tool, I'll put that inside, and then to get rid of any file marks, I can use that first. And it's got a slight dome to it, but at least get the worst of the file marks out with this cut-off wheel, and then I'll touch it with just the usual paper whizzers. And then I'll basically get it started cleaning it out by going, first of all, to these. Okay, this is a good one. Right, you've got to have a set of these digital calipers. They measure to like hundreds of a mil, and they're very, very useful. Very, very useful indeed. Use them all the time. So yeah, buy some of these. They're not expensive anymore. They used to be like 100 quid when they came out 20 or 30 years ago. Now they are like £10. I don't know. It's just a digital watch on a ruler. Right, so my tip for using these is, say you need to know the distance from that top point to that surface there. So rather than, I mean, you can do this quite accurately, but rather than trying to hook that one on and then open it up and then just line it up until it looks about right. Okay, let me see what measurement I get. I'm calling that a bit smaller maybe. I reckon that's 6.5, call it. Right, the way to get that accurately, open it up, go to the other end, and just push it down. There you go, that's my measurement. 667, see, that's quite far out. I said 6.5. So that actually will line up perfectly. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. There we go. Just a few little nuggets for you. I hope that's useful. I don't want to exhaust my nuggets. There's only a limited supply of them, so I will definitely be doing more golden nugget videos in the future. If you enjoyed it and you found the information useful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Actually, hit like. The word is on the street does actually make a difference on the YouTube's algorithms, and it will recommend the video to more people the more likes and more watches it gets. So yeah, please like it and subscribe it and share it, sorry. Yeah, see you next time. I can't do buys.